What's up, you guys? Welcome back to my channel. For this week's video, I'm gonna be taking you through a 4-exercise beginner leg day that's only gonna take you under an hour. Let's go. All right, guys, we are starting with exercise number 1, but I forgot to mention first in the beginning that this is a very home-friendly workout. This entire workout's gonna be dumbbells, so you can do this at home, you can do it at the gym if you want, but this is a true beginner leg day. So everybody that's stressed, that's like, is Maddie really gonna make this a beginner-friendly workout? Yes, this is truly a beginner-friendly workout because this is for all my beginner girls and guys. So anyways, exercise number 1 is gonna be a superset. So we're gonna do 10 dumbbell B-stance hip thrusts with no breaks right into 10 full hip thrusts. So it's technically gonna be like a 30 reps total per set, because if you think about it, you're gotta do 10 reps on this leg, 10 reps on this leg, and then 10 full hip thrust reps, equaling 30 reps before you can take a rest for the next 3 other sets. So 4 sets total, but get a decent heavy weight for you, whatever you consider heavy for you, a weight that you're able to do all 10 reps per leg, plus the full 10 reps of the double leg movement. So you should be able to get through all of those reps whilst still it being challenging. So you shouldn't fly through those reps and not be out of breath and just be like, okay, this is easy, but you should be like, it should be a challenging enough weight that like, okay, you're struggling to get through all those reps before you can take your rest. So choose a weight that challenges you, but doesn't destroy you and is not too easy for you. Right in the middle. I'm gonna do a full form breakdown for you guys, because since you guys are beginners that are watching this and that are curious to, like, you know, get your form down perfect for both B stance and a regular hip thrust. So when it comes to a regular hip thrust, right, you wanna have a bench. Let's start with the bench. You wanna have a bench that's basically the perfect height for your size, your height. So I'm a short girl, I'm 5'2". So regular standard gym height benches tend to be too tall for me when I'm hip thrusting, meaning I don't hit 90 degrees because it's way too high up for me because I'm like short. So because I'm short, I get stackables. And stackables, I put about 4 or 5, and that works for my height. So if you're anywhere between like 5 foot to like 5'3", do about this height, which is about 4 to 5 stackables plus the step up box, and that should be a perfect height for you, anywhere from 5 foot to 5'3". All my taller girls, the standard gym bench height should be good for you for any sort of like dumbbell or regular hip thrusting, because you basically just want to hit 90 degrees when you hip thrust up. When you hit 90 degrees, that's how you're going to get the perfect mind muscle connection with your glutes, and that is basically the perfect form. You're hitting your hammies and your glutes in the exact way you're supposed to in a hip thrust. If you go under 90 degrees because the bench is way too tall on your back, then you're hitting more of your quads. If you hit over 90 degrees because the bench is way too short for you, then you're not getting that full range of motion. It's like a half range of motion. So you need to hit that full 90 degrees at the tabletop, meaning your bench has to be a perfect height for your height. So we have to get that down first. So figure out your perfect bench height where the back of your sports bra strap can sit properly on the back of the bench, aka your upper back / rear delts, and you can comfortably hit a 90-degree angle when you hip thrust up. Tip number 2 for form. You're gonna take your feet tucked in, right? And you're gonna, I do this like little shuffle. I shuffle outwards about 2.5 times until I'm just about shoulder width apart, maybe a little bit further than shoulder width apart, with my toes slightly pointed outwards, not like extremely pointed outwards and not completely parallel, but the slightest bit pointed outwards, because I find that when they're slightly pointed outwards, I feel it in my glutes better. Now that you have your stance correct, your bench correct, when you hip thrust up, you're going to keep your hips tucked. So not loose, your core loose, and your back curved like this, where there's an arch. No, tighten your core. So when I say tighten your core, if you've watched my other videos, it's like if someone was gonna come tickle you, you need to really tighten your core, and that will keep your hips tucked. When your core is engaged, it's gonna help you with the movement and prevent any lower back pain, especially on leg days. So keep your core tight, your hips tucked, meaning when I say tuck, instead of having an arch back like this, you're gonna tuck your hips like that throughout the entire movement, keeping your core engaged. And you're gonna dip and then come and hit 90 degrees. And that's gonna be the perfect hip thrust form, and you're gonna feel the mind muscle connection perfectly if you do all these cues, okay? And also guys, when you're driving through your heels, you will feel it in your glutes and hammies better. Some people, I feel like on leg day, especially beginners or if you're new to the gym, a lot of people tend to roll onto their toes, and then you're confused. You're like, why don't I feel it in my glutes? I feel it in my quads, or like I'm feeling knee pain pain, this and that, because you're pushing through the movement through your toes. Because I know you tend to like rock, especially if it's like a heavier weight. Push the weight through your heels. So drive, when I say drive through your heels, that's what I mean. Drive any sort of leg day movement through your heels, because that way when you drive through your heels, it goes up the back of your calf, up your hamstring, and through your glutes. If you drive through your toes, it goes to the front of your shins and to your quads. Drive through your heels in a hip thrust, and I promise you that mind muscle connection, your glutes will blow up. Okay, let's run through the movement of a B stance hip thrust. So that's like a regular standard hip thrust, so we don't need to run through that anymore. Let's go through a B stance. Basically the exact same thing when I talk about cues, except you know what's the only difference? You're gonna take your non-working leg, so your working leg is gonna stay flat, planted on the ground here. Same, about shoulder width apart, foot slightly pointed outwards. You're gonna take your non-working leg and take it out and put your heel on the ground, toe facing upwards. That non-working leg is not working. When I say non-working, it's actually not doing any of the work. It's not taking any of the impact in your hip thrust. It is literally just there to keep you stabilized and keep you from like falling over, literally. It's keeping you stable because you're working one leg at a time, right? It's a unilateral movement. So that's just there to keep your stability and to keep the weight like balanced on you, whatever you're hip thrusting, right? And then same with the other one. Then you would switch legs. When you're done the 10 reps, you switch the legs, and this one is the non-working leg now, and the one that's flat, planted on the ground, driving through your heels, that's the working leg. And this one is just here for stability. Keep your heel on the ground, toe pointed towards the ceiling, and then that is a perfect B stance hip thrust. I'll demonstrate with this leg. Test it out before you put the dumbbell on your pelvis here, guys. Test it out just body weight. You should only feel that movement literally in your glutes and your hams. If you feel it in your quads, you need to adjust where your foot is placed so that you're hitting a perfect 90 degrees, and you need to adjust where you're driving through. Don't drive through your toes, drive through your heels. And then that will be a perfect B stance hip thrust. Anyways, enough chit chatter. I hope that was a good form breakdown. Let's run through the 10 reps per leg right into the 10 full hip thrusts. No breaks in between until you're done the full superset. 4 sets, let's go guys. Exercise number 2 is gonna be another superset. Don't worry guys, it's okay. We're getting the best of both worlds when we do supersets before you start crying. They're good for you. 4 sets of 10 dumbbell RDLs right into 10 dumbbell sumo squats. This is a super convenient superset because you are literally hitting your quads, your glutes, your hammies, your inner thighs, the whole shebang. Inner thighs, also known as adductors. Perfect, well-rounded movement. The RDLs are gonna target our hammies and glutes, and the sumo squats, when we toss one dumbbell to the side, are gonna target our adductors as well as our glutes and hammies too. And a little bit of our quads. So we're getting like a full, well-rounded leg superset movement here. Okay, so when it comes to RDLs, let's break down the form. I've done full form breakdowns for RDLs in my other leg day videos if you guys wanna go watch that. So I'm just gonna do a pretty quick one right now. If you wanna watch any full form breakdowns, go to my video that's called Stop Making These Mistakes. That goes over my full, like fledged, I think it's like an 8 to 10 minute tutorial just on the RDLs itself in that video. So if you wanna go watch that video, go watch that video. But basically when it comes to dumbbell RDLs, right guys? Feet just inside, shoulder width apart. So your shoulders are here, so just inside your shoulders, facing parallel. Dumbbells, you're gonna hold not directly in front of you. I find my mind muscle connection and the movement feels more fluid for me when I hold the dumbbells slightly outwards to the side of my shins instead of directly in front of my shins. So maybe like 45 degrees outwards. That's where I hold the dumbbells. It's just more comfortable to hold it that way. And because it's a glute focused RDL, we're not doing a hamstring only focused RDL. We are going to 1, exaggerated bend at the knee. Okay, exaggerated bend at the knee, pushing a door open with your glutes. That exaggerated bend already makes it a more glute-focused RDL. 2, you're only gonna dip the weight just below your shins right here. You're not gonna go all the way down to your ankles. That's what also makes it a glute-focused RDL. And number 3, like always, when it's a glute-focused, hamstring-focused movement, drive through your heels. Do not drive through your toes. Do not lean forward with the weight onto your toes and distribute the weight of your own body weight and the weight that you're holding into your toes. When you do that, it becomes shin and quad focus, which you don't want in a dumbbell RDL or a regular barbell RDL or any RDL, okay? We literally want to target our glutes, our hamstrings, hence RDL, literally only targeting our hammies and glutes. We're not trying to target our quads and shins here, guys. So drive through your heels throughout the entire movement. The 3 cues again, exaggerated bend at the knee, come just below your shins, and drive through your heels on the way up and on the way down, okay? So those are your 3 cues. And of course, you know the rest of it, which is in the full form breakdown, but keeping a neutral spine, neutral neck, not rushing through the movement, so keeping a very consistent tempo and not locking out your knees. When you lock out your knees, you lose the tension in your glutes and your hammies. Locking out your joints in general, when you're doing upper body or lower body, you lose the tension. So don't lock out, like don't exaggeratedly lock out anything when you're lifting. It's also bad, you're gonna injure yourself. So that's RDLs. Now, when you put the dumbbell to the side, no breaks. After you do those RDLs, put one to the side quickly, grab your remaining dumbbell. Now you're gonna be outside shoulder width apart, feet exaggeratedly pointed outwards. So before we are parallel, inside shoulder width apart doing our RDLs, now our feet are gonna be like out, pointed outwards like this. Why do we do that with our feet? Because when you point outwards like this, you target more of your inner thighs, which is the point of a sumo squat or a sumo deadlift. Anything sumo, when you're doing leg day, you're targeting more of your inner thighs, strengthening, toning, whatever you want to call it. You are targeting your inner thighs as well as your glutes and your hammies. And because it's also a squatting movement that we're doing right here, we're also targeting some of our quads. Hence, like, I love this movement. It's a great lower body movement in general, lower body exercise for beginners, for intermediate, and for advanced. But before I ramble on about sumo squats, you're gonna grab the dumbbell, keeping a very neutral spine throughout the entire movement, tight core, guys. We never have a loose core on leg day especially, okay? We're lifting heavy weights here. You have a loose core, you're gonna injure your back. Tight core, as if someone's gonna do this. Tight, okay? Engage, neutral spine, neutral neck, okay? Feet pointed outwards. We're gonna come down like a squat, okay? You see how neutral my spine is throughout that movement? Then I'm gonna come up, almost to the point that I'm gonna lock out my knees, but I'm not gonna lock out my knees because then I'm gonna lose the tension, so don't do that. Right there, slightest bend when you come up, and you'll keep that tension throughout the entire movement. Again, dip low, and then come up. That's a sumo squat. Now let's run through the whole thing and your glutes will be on fire after the superset. Okay, can we guess what exercise number 3 is? No, this doesn't really give it away. Today we are doing 3 sets of dumbbell elevated reverse lunges. Why are we doing it with an elevation, guys? We are doing it with an elevation to give us that extra ROM, aka range of motion. For anyone that's a beginner watching this and doesn't know what ROM means range of motion. The more full range of motion that you can get out of a movement, the better it is. The more stretch you get in your glutes, the more stretch you get in your hammies, the more stretch you get in your shoulder press, in your lat pull down, everything. You want a full range of motion, no half reps, unless like you're specifically programming half reps, like a cast glute bridge, for example, which cast glute bridge is a half rep range of motion. Unless that's specifically programmed for you to do a half rep range of motion, you want to hit full ROM every single time. Now, to add the elevation on a dumbbell reverse lunge is just giving that extra stretch. Not to say that a regular dumbbell reverse lunge is not a full ROM, so you guys don't freak out and think, oh my God, I've been doing half ROM this entire time. No, you haven't, you haven't. A regular reverse lunge is also amazing. It's great, it's effective for glutes, effective for quads, effective for hammies, the whole shebang. But why I enjoy adding an elevation to it is because I feel like I just get that extra stretch out of it. When you add that elevation, it's not something that's super exaggerated. You don't want to stand on something that's like this tall. Like at that point, it would be a step up. And a step up is a different movement altogether. Let me know if you guys want me to run through a step up in another video, but that's like too high. You just want like a small elevation. So either just a mini step up box, like really mini, or a plate. I always use a plate. If you watch my Instagram videos, my TikTok, my YouTube, I always use a plate. That's like sufficient enough to get that, just that minor extra oomph of wrong. Okay, so exact same form as a regular dumbbell reverse lunge, so nothing really different here, except we're just adding elevation. But for everybody that's new and beginner, and say you're like literally super new to working out, I'm just gonna run through the form anyways for a reverse lunge, and obviously with elevation. So when we do a reverse lunge, I am doing it glute focused. There are two ways to do it. You can do it quad focused, Jay Cutler quad stomp. You can do it quad focused, or you can do it glute focused. A quad focused reverse lunge would be your upper body is completely like straight, like 90 degrees straight. And the Q2 for a quad focused reverse lunge would be that you do a minor step back. It's not gonna be a large step back, it's gonna be a minor step back. Q number 3 is you're gonna do an elevator motion. So up, down, okay? Up, down like that. Very elevator, like you're going up and down in an elevator at the mall. Now, glute focused is going to be a larger step back. Okay? And the torso is not gonna be pinned straight like in the quad focus. Your torso is gonna be leaned forward slightly. Okay, you see that kind of like, would we call that a 45-degree lean? I just like saying 45 degrees, whatever, you see that lean. Just like, you know, a more exaggerated lean at the torso to make it also more glute focused. And then it's also gonna be more of an escalator motion because that bigger step back and that torso lean forward is gonna naturally kind of give you that escalator vibe, like in a mall where you're just going like this, versus the quad focused is an elevator, you're just up and down. Okay, so that escalator movement, okay, is a diagonal movement. Hence the escalator reference. That's gonna be our glute focused reverse lunge, and that's what we're gonna do today. A glute focused dumbbell heel elevated reverse lunge. Wow, that's a lot. I got out of breath saying that. But we're only doing 3 sets, guys. 3 sets of 10 reps per leg with a decently challenging heavy weight, okay? It should be challenging per leg. You should be hitting those 10 reps, but hitting those 10 reps with some struggle, okay? Let's go. Another form tip that I have, guys, that I forgot to mention, and this is like actually really key, so it's not just a form tip, it's a form must. Drive through your heels, that's not a shocker there, but the back leg, especially, this is why, like, sometimes I forget I'm filming like beginner content because I want my beginners to like, you know, start off strong in their fitness journey. I want you guys to do things right from the jump, you know, and not make the same mistakes I made when I was a beginner. And I tend to see a lot of beginners, like myself when I was a beginner, push off the back leg like this. Like literally like use it, like literally push off. We're not doing that, guys. We're not doing that because again, remember when I said B stance hip thrust as our first exercise? What did I say in B stance hip thrust? I said the non-working leg, so the leg that was literally heel on the ground, toe pointed upwards towards the ceiling, we weren't using that as a working leg. That was literally used as a balance, stability, extra leg to just literally keep balance and stability. Exact same thing here with a reverse lunge. The back leg that goes backwards, you are not pushing off that back leg. You are not using that as the working leg. The working leg is the one that's flat planted on the ground or flat planted on the plate or the elevation. That is the working leg that you are doing at that time. The one going backwards is the one there to just keep you stable. Driving through your heels is gonna bring your whole body weight and that weight that you're holding all the way back up. So no push, no help from that back leg that goes there. That's a non-working leg. Everything should come from this leg here, bringing you back up. And same with the other working leg. Everything should come with this leg here to bring you all the way back up. Form must. That's a form must. Okay, last exercise of the day, guys, and then you're in and out of the gym in under an hour for all my beginners. Not even the gym, you're in and out of your basement home gym or your garage home gym or whatever it is, because this is literally a home-friendly workout in under an hour. We are going to finish off with 3 sets of 12 to 15 reps of calf raises. This wouldn't be a well-rounded full leg day if we didn't throw in some calves, guys. I know you guys are always asking, Maddie, what do you do to grow those calves? Well, I am half Filipino, number 1. Number 2, I was a swimmer. I was an athlete for 7 to 8 years of my life. Think about all the times you're pushing off that wall and swimming. Insane calf raises, like millions of calf raises. And number 3, calf raises. Just plain, simple calf raises. I prefer the calf raise machine in the gym, but because this is a beginner leg day, and this is a beginner dumbbell only leg day, I'm showing the dumbbell version, the dumbbell swap out for the calf raise machine. If you guys have seen my other videos or you've seen videos I post just on my social media in general, you know my goated machine, like the goat of calf building machines, is the standing calf raise machine. The standing calf raise machine is just like, there's no tips or tricks to it. Like literally just abuse the standing calf raise machine. Throw it in on your leg days twice a week, maybe even on your full body days to add it 3 times a week. But to grow those calves, you just gotta hit it consistently, guys. And there's no special tips or tricks really. It's literally just like a staple key, like bodybuilding movement. And that's just the standing calf raise machine, okay? And I like to hit it high volume at the end of my leg days when I'm cooked. Like literally when I'm cooked, when I'm just like done. Like that's like the best way because you're just kind of like grinding it out. And I like doing high volume for calves. Heavy, but high volume. Not high volume and light, high volume and heavy. So the swap out for the calf raise machine would be dumbbell calf raises. So get a decently heavy weight that you can rep out for 12 to 15 reps, but still like, you know, your calves are crying while you're doing it, like you're crying. So when it comes to calf raises, you're gonna get an elevation like this. So if you have a plate at home or again, a little step up box, or you can do it on your stairs. You know the like little step that you have at the bottom of your stairs? That's where I would do it if you're home. So get a little like mini elevation, like the bottom of your stairs. Sorry guys, I got another platform to show you on this. With calf raise, you're gonna place your toes on the box, the edge of your stairs, the plate, whatever you're using as an elevation. And this is how you're gonna do it in terms of tempo. You're gonna go up, explode up, okay, until you're a full stretch in your calves there. And then you're gonna go 1, 2, 3 until you dip and get that full stretch on the way down, until you can literally feel that like full stretch in your calves. And then you're gonna go up again, and then 1, 2, 3, and then up again, and then 1, 2, 3. Again, guys, I do prefer the calf raise machine also just because of straight balance. Like it really does like take away the aspect of you having to just like balance yourself and use all your core power to stay balanced, because it is hard to balance when you're doing calf raises, even if your core is super strong. So the standing calf raise machine kind of takes that aspect away and you can just like literally isolate your calves. So if you are comfortable with going to your standing calf raise machine in the gym and you're not a beginner and you're like intermediate advanced and you want to use that machine, or even if you are a beginner, that is a great machine to do calf raises. Not to say that this isn't good. It's just like that takes away the aspect of you having to balance yourself is what I'm saying. But this one, you'll find it's a little bit harder to balance. So what I suggest actually, if you're at home, which I assume most of you will be at home doing this, my beginners, hold on to something like the wall or your railing of the stairs. Especially if you're doing the calf raises on the stairs, pretend this is a railing on your staircase. Hold on to it while you're doing the weight, okay? While you're holding the other weight here in this hand to keep your balance as you go down and then as you go up, okay? It'll help you just to like kind of like hold your balance. All right guys, that concludes today's video. I really hope you enjoyed it, and let me know in the comments if you like the workout and if you want to see more beginner friendly workouts, either leg or upper body focused or full body focused. Let me know in the comments below as well, and I can't wait to see you guys in the next one.